Okay. Hello, people of YouTube land. I am Traductus.
And I am Ted.
And also hello, people of Cringe Crew Gaming community in our Discord. And hello, people that follow our Twitches. This is the Cringe Crew Gaming James Bond podcast, where I, a James Bond fan, and Ted, a, shall we say, filthy casual, um, someone that is, a newbie to the James Bond series. We watch James Bond films and we talk about them. And today we are talking about The Man with the Golden Gun, and we are continuing the trend of Ted not liking the odd number Bond films.
True.
All right. This is based off of the final novel, the 12th novel out of the James Bond book series. The book itself was published after Ian Fleming had passed away. And this is me correcting myself from previous thinking that there was 13 novels. There's only 12. Due to me getting confused, due to a copy of Casino Royale I have, which says 13 books, and obviously it was released shortly before Octopus in the Living Daylights, which is a short story collection. It also included For Your Eyes Only as a book, as opposed to being a short story collection. There's 12 novels, but 14 books altogether. So there's that little tidbit. As for we're going to do as usual, go with a overview of like how this film was made, casting decisions. We're also gonna go into likes, dislikes, and since this is the final Bond film where Guy Hamilton directs it, we're gonna give it an evaluation of his tenure, like we did with Terrence Young, and we pretty much did with Peter Hunt, since that was the only, since On Her Majesty's Secret Service was the only film that he directed. We're kind of gonna do that later on when during the Brosnan era, when there's a lot more like Bond directors that just do one movie. But in this case, still the trend of like, hey, let's get this director back, and when you have like long periods. And then we're gonna do our entire evaluation of like I guess the film itself, and then our ranking. All right, so this movie was released in 1974 and had a budget of $7 million. It had made $97.6 million. I don't believe that this made as much money as Live and Let Die. I do know it wasn't as critically acclaimed. This is one of the few Bond films that during like contemporary release, it got bad reviews. And then modern times still gets bad reviews. It's not like On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which was critically panned. Not across the board, but there was a lot of people that were just like, man, it's not Sean Connery. Bond actually has feelings in this? What? And nowadays, which we're kind of used to with that with the Daniel Craig era, people are just like, wow, that's actually a really good movie. This is not the case. This is like, wow, the series said that this sucked. And like you watch it now, it's like, yes, it still kind of sucks. Which is a shame, because it is a very well cast movie. Let's see. That being said, Guy Hamilton, like I said before, comes back with this being his final Bond film, and he said that his only regret in life was directing this movie. Which really says something, because this is the guy that made Diamonds Are Forever. But this is the movie he regrets making. All right. This is also the last film where Cubby Broccoli and Harry Saltzman are both the producers. They end up having a falling out, and Harry Saltzman ends up selling his shares of the company to United Artists, which will not become a problem later on in the future. I repeat, this will not become a problem in the future. Spoiler alert, it becomes a problem in the future. Um but anyway, with that being said, we're gonna go with casting. Um Obviously Roger Moore comes back as James Bond and is Roger Moore's James Bond. That's all you can really
Yeah.
say. Basically pretty much the same as the last thing. Also coming back is Clifton James as Sheriff J.W. Pepper, which, watching a trailer for this movie, apparently that was a popular character, so they brought him back. For what?
God knows
Otherwise,
why.
We also have Richard Liu as High Fat, the millionaire, and Soon Taco, which I hope I did not butcher that name, but I probably did, as Lieutenant Hip. Coming back, Mark Lawrence, who plays a gangster in Diamonds Are Forever, plays a gangster in this one at the beginning of the film that gets killed by Scaramanga. And for the main cast, that we are going to kind of go in depth on how like they got chosen. We are gonna go with the Bond women first. Britt Eklund as Mary Goodnight, and Maud Adams as Andrea Anders, who is Scaramanga's mistress. Britt Eklund wanted, ever since she saw Dr. No, wanted to play the role of a Bond woman, and auditioned for the part and then got it. But at first, she thought Maud Adams got the part because Maud Adams auditioned for Scaramanga's mistress, and Guy Hamilton actually saw her. It was just like she'd be perfect for the role. And cool thing about Maud Adams, she actually returns into another Bond movie under as a different character. Spoiler alert: she's Octopussy.
Motherfuck.
Yeah. So the puns on the names that are derogatory sexual innuendos continues clear into the 80s. So you have that to look forward to, Ted. But anyway, Maud Adams got cast, and they said like, "Oh yeah, Maud Adams is the Bond woman." So Britt Eklund was disappointed and thought Maud Adams got that role that she wanted. However, Cubby Broccoli assured us like, no, you're not. You Mary Goodnight's still open. So if you really want to audition, you can, and she did. And then they thought like she would be a perfect antithesis to what Maud Adams' character is. We also have for the main henchman, Nick Knack, played by Hervé Villechaize, and he is best known as Tattoo in the series Fantasy Island. I also know him from The Forbidden Zone, where he plays the king in that movie. And for those that don't really know who Hervé Villechaize is, I would say since he seems to be mainly a comedic actor, he was kind of the Vern Troyer at his time, like typecasted a lot, but actually had a little bit more acting pros if put in like the right role. I say that about Vern Troyer because Vern Troyer actually played a professor in the Harry Potter movies, which I didn't know, and you wouldn't know that was Vern Troyer. But like Hervé Villechaize, he's actually had a couple serious roles and has done very well. And if the times were different, could have been Peter Dinklage before Peter Dinklage for how popular of an actor he was. And then the elephant in the room, the villain, Francisco Scaramanga, played by Christopher Lee. And they decided with Christopher Lee because he is the step cousin of Ian Fleming, the guy that wrote this. Not only that, since Christopher Lee during World War II was in the Secret Service and killed Nazis, there's a very, very good inclination that James Bond might have been inspired by Christopher Lee. which is really, really cool. And just adds to like the badassness of Christopher Lee. Like he's played Dracula in the Hammer films. He's played Frankenstein and like monster in the Hammer films. He's also played the Mummy. He's played Death before. Saruman from Lord of the Rings is what people are probably going to most know him for nowadays, or as Count Dooku. Christopher Lee has been in a lot of movies and was definitely considered a film legend, even in this time and even modern day. He was also suggested for the role of Dr. No, but Dr. No was already cast by that time that Christopher Lee was suggested. So he finally gets to be a Bond film in this. They chose The Man with the Golden Gun since they wanted to film it after You Only Live Twice. They were going to film it in Cambodia, but due to the Vietnam War spilling over in Cambodia, they weren't able to. And they decided to change location to Thailand. And since, you have 3 novels left that they had, that they still had the rights to. Since, like I said before, they didn't have the rights to Casino Royale, but they did have the rights to The Spy Who Loved Me, Moonraker, and The Man with the Golden Gun. Since they decided they wanted to do The Man with the Golden Gun earlier, they figured they'd do it, now. And before, they wanted Roger Moore to play Bond when they wanted to have The Man with the Golden Gun as a movie. So Roger Moore still was able to play Bond. Since he obviously is now, James Bond right now, and was given a 4-movie contract. He would play, like I said before, would play Bond well after his 4-movie contract. And that's really all I got for production. Let's see, Tom Mankiewicz, yeah, he comes back. They did change a couple of things. They made it more based and like influence with kung fu films because that was popular at the time, kind of like with Live and Let Die was popular. I mean, it was more influenced with the popular blaxploitation trend. The next 2 Bond films are going to be somewhat the same at that, but more influenced directly by specific films as opposed to genres, and also to make the movie more topical. They decided to have it a little bit influenced by solar power and also the 1973 energy crisis, as opposed to the book where Scaramanga is hired by like a drug cartel. And from what I've heard from like different reviews, the plot in the book is kind of a clusterfuck like the plot of the movie is. For lack of a better term. So that's understandable if the source material is kind of choppy and iffy, then yeah, the movie, no wonder it kind of turned out that way. And with that being said, we'll go with likes and dislikes. I actually do have a few likes. Like I said before, I do believe that this movie is well cast. I think that all the actors in this do a hell of a job despite the dog shit script that they're given. Well, it's not even really the dog shit script, it's the plot. Because the plot makes zero fucking sense. Zero fucking sense. At all. Like, it's all an excuse to have Christopher Lee and James Bond duel. That's all it is. It's a bunch of shit thrown in just to have that happen. Which, works with some films like King Kong versus Godzilla, like it worked with that, but in this I wouldn't say too much. I also like the action sequences. I think they're actually really well done and shot. One in particular is really amazing that I'm not really gonna go into a whole lot because they kind of kill it with a choice of sound editing. And I'll get into that with dislikes, which is one of my main issues with it.
That's on my list
Um,
too. All caps and an exclamation point. I got mad.
oh yeah, it's one of the few times in this during the series that Ted and I have gotten mad together. Last time was just watching Diamonds Are Forever, going, "Is it over yet?"
Yeah.
I will say this right off the bat: I do enjoy watching this film, but I understand of how crap it is. All right, this is a very much a guilty pleasure of mine, mainly because I'm a Christopher Lee stan. I think Christopher Lee's lines are great. Bond's lines are great. Like the cast makes this movie watchable.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, Also, like Hervé Villechaize's specific scene that I really like from him is when he's like has like a little he's behind Bond, has like this little Derringer pistol, and he's like pointing at Bond and just eating peanuts. So nonchalantly going, yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm doing. Like, just gotta make sure you don't fucking follow my boss. Um, I love how Scaramanga is very, very menacing. Gosh, what else can I will say that the sound is a little bit better on this. There are a few quirks that I'm pretty sure you're going to get to on your dislikes that I'll probably explain about. I also like the theme song, despite the lyrics being kind of very on the nose. But that being said, there's not really a lot to really talk about with likes without really. It's hard to explain without somebody actually watching the film. I tried to explain the Ted. It's like everything about this film sucks except for the actors. The actors are really good in this. Everything else sucks, and it's so weird. It's so weird. Like the only other film I can think of that really does this is Phantasm. If you explain the plot to Phantasm, people would just look at you like, how is that a good movie? Well, in this case, it's not, but Phantasm, it actually is a good movie. And I implore people to actually look up the plot for Phantasm. It is the stupidest fucking plot ever, but somehow it works as a horror film. But
I do have a couple likes myself. Not many of them, but a couple.
yeah, I'll definitely take that over to you.
Yeah. I thought that this movie was thoughtful. As much as the plot was goofy and stupid and backwards, and they just kept going like it was every 10 minutes needs a cliffhanger like a shitty soap opera. You could tell that they put thought into the plot. They knew where they were going for the end of the movie at the beginning, even though it was definitely an absolute mess. I thought they did a pretty good job at considering what came next when they wrote each individual part. We're gonna backtrack on that a little bit as we get into dislikes, but I thought that probably for the first time in the series, I'll give it a major compliment, was that the espionage in this was very, very good.
I'd say probably first time since either On Her Majesty's Secret Service or even farther, first time since From Russia with Love.
Yeah, I thought that like it really showed the prowess and intelligence of the Bond character. That he was able to just kind of work on his own to find out the information he needed. Like I definitely thought the way that the Bond role was written, the like actually fit the character that I feel like it's been supposed to be for. What are we on? Movie number 8?
8 or 9? Oh, I think we're on 9. We're on number 9.
Okay, but
because we got 2 novels left.
Yeah, I like for the first time in all of these movies though, like I felt like the spy element of the Bond character actually like was really demonstrated, and I thought that was very, very, very good. That might be my list of positives, to be honest. I can start getting into some dislikes because I think we're gonna overlap a little bit.
Yeah.
One really big one for me was the laziness. And I thought that it kind of flourished the entire film. Even in the intro song, the lyrics got lazy. The way that like I mentioned it being a shitty soap opera plot earlier, but basically, like, it just kind of wanted to continue putting more things in front of your face. It gave you different twists. It like really they tried really really hard to like explain motives and plot lines and make you understand why things were happening in certain ways, and it just like they just used the laziest out to give you the most baseline of an answer that I I don't know. And I feel like it also took away from a very good character in Scaramanga. I thought it sort of felt like they took like a really well developed character and dropped it into a role where they didn't give him any development.
Yeah, there definitely is kind of not enough Christopher Lee in this movie.
You know, like had they given him a 2-movie piece like they did with Blofeld a couple of movies ago, honestly, I think it would have felt better. But they just put like a highly developed villain in that you just kind of like, even from the intro sequence before Bond even gets reintroduced, that like you're just supposed to know all about this character.
On top of that, you're supposed to pay attention to the song to understand what's kind of going on. Like when it comes to like his mistress who wants him killed, you're just like, well, why does she want him killed? And it's like, well, in this line, love is required whenever he's hired, it comes before the kill. He basically uses women to basically sleep with. For what I understand, supposedly it's like a thing, like some like stupid like pseudoscience study, I assume it was, that apparently like supposedly men after coitus get like hyper awareness, which I say is bullshit.
I just like it,
but
the lazy way that they just kind of dropped a really developed character in there.
Yeah,
was like it made everybody's motives unclear. You've not to spoil things, but when you find out the mistress is, you know, like a double agent, for lack of a better word, against Scaramanga, like it takes the whole movie for them to give you a sentence explaining why she did it, and it really wasn't even then thorough. The villain,
and
like,
even then, it's like, then why didn't she tell Bond that from the beginning?
Right, or like his partnership with High Fat, just they wrote it in there because they felt like they were supposed to and barely explained it. Like it just like they dropped really really thorough levels of development into a character that they didn't develop. They just wanted you to start at the end line.
In all honesty, they just assume like, it's Christopher Lee. That's all the character development you need.
Yeah, which
partly is a lot of the cases is right, but at the same time, it's like, it's Christopher Lee. Don't waste Christopher Lee.
Well, I'm not here to make comparisons to other things, right? But like, if you made this movie into a TV series, right?
Right.
You could develop him the same way that you develop Walter White in Breaking Bad. Like, home family man to, like, cruel, evil villain just destroying humanity, right? Like, and
yes.
And I feel like from the opening scene, you were just supposed to assume all of these things. Like, the as movie makers, they just expected you to know. Into some more cinematography stuff rather than content stuff. I thought that the sound was again weird.
I will say this. This is actually, I wonder if this is typical of 70s films, but I would say this is typical of Kung Fu films. A lot of the cases with the fight scenes don't have like audio in the background.
You know, there were a couple of points in times during this movie that like I was like, man, if they just added some sort of backing track to this, it would be better. I'm not even needing like complex original music, just some sort of background sound, you know? Like that standard, like, hey, this movie's set in Asia, so you hear the one gong and it just kind of rings for 4 minutes, kind of. Like, even that would have made it better than the weird, awkward silences there were.
Yeah, I don't know, because like a lot of Kung Fu films that I've seen are like that. They have that awkward silence during the fights. There's nothing in the background except for like, you know, that the sounds of like, you know, the punches being hit and then people grunting and shit. Other than that, it is weird. Like, especially since like, you know, you kind of pointed it out before. It's just like, oh, it's like a standard kind of Kung Fu thing. But when you point it out, it's just like, it's very unsettling.
Well, yeah, and it's not. I had the same complaints about the last movie, and there weren't as many like times that I found it to be true in this one, but like even the kung fu scene I think was the most notable one, right?
Right.
But like even then, like had the action been more continuous, that there were more continual punches or grunts or like shouting or whatever, like as a part of the fight, I don't think it would have bothered me that bad. But it
Right.
was
And
2-3 punches, throw the guy off. They're both standing there staring at each other for 10 seconds, and there's just silence. It was so bizarre.
And like we said, we figured it probably would have been better if they would have shot it now, especially since, like, although Roger Moore doesn't do a bad job at faking that he knows judo, but like nowadays they'd actually teach the Bond actor judo, so
Right.
it would probably be, more of a fight with more like maybe more sounds like the punching and everything, but who knows?
Yeah. The sound got goofy other places too. Before we move too far from that, I know the
Right.
one that's on Stallman and my list together, where we both got angry at the same time, was the stunt, the car stunt, where it barrel rolls across a rickety bridge, like
the best stunt that I've seen in a Bond film so far, and then they kill it.
They put a slide whistle on it.
Yeah, and this is the reason why they put the slide whistle on it. But first, I want to kind of add like the build up to it. All right, the car that they're chasing is on the other side of the river. Sheriff J.W. Pepper, who's a fucking hindrance to Bond in this. I will say this: the only reason why I don't really mind him a whole lot in this is not because of Sheriff J.W. Pepper. It's literally Roger Moore's reactions to him being in the same car with him, because he's just like, why did it have to be this car? Why am I with? Can he just jump out of the car, jump out, please, for the love of? And then finally it's like they go to the jump, and Sheriff J.W. Pepper's like, you're not gonna, and then Roger Moore goes, I sure am, boy. And it's like, oh sweet, this is gonna be awesome, and then and then you're like,
and even the suspense of the scene, silence would have even been okay there. Like they just made so many weird choices with sound that just
and the reason why they did the slide whistle is because they thought that it was too unrealistic. So they were like, okay, well, we'll tell the audience that we're in on the gag. It's like, way to kill it. Especially like after that stunt happened, Roger Moore went up to the stuntman and said, thank you for making me look good. And I really hope he went up to whoever's decision it was to add the slide whistle, go, thank you for making me look bad again.
It's like it's almost like they they take like cuts of like really fast cuts of old westerns and they put them in a SpongeBob episode and just put that crappy underwater theme over top of it. Like that's what I felt watching that 8 seconds. Like who chose a slide whistle? Okay. The other bit too was that like camera angles and stuff were good. Stallman mentioned the filming during the action was good. Like it felt like the cameras were in a place that were for entertainment purposes, not for filming purposes.
And for the most part, the special effects were really good. Like they weren't really that dated. There's like only one that's dated, that's like the solar panel, but other than that, like everything else like looked fine. It wasn't really as laughably bad and detrimental as You Only Live Twice.
Rip camera. Oh shit. Okay. Well, one moment, please. All right. Sorry for technical difficulties. Discord really just doesn't like Stallman today.
Yeah. Or like the past few episodes. But anyway, yeah, sound. And cinematography.
Yeah, I was saying that the camera angles were thoughtful for like watching as an entertainment piece more so than filming for like to film.
Yeah, and as what I would say, the special effects weren't dated bad as You Only Live Twice. But at the same time, like that only does so much for the film with such a weak plot. And gosh, what else? Like the other movie, Sheriff J.W. Pepper has no fucking reason to be in this.
Oh god, he drives me insane, man. He like absolutely fucking nuts.
And it doesn't help that I forgot about this too, that he's actually kind of blatantly racist in this.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Like, he doesn't refer to anybody as anything other than a racial slur.
And it's not even just that. Here's the thing. Here at Cringe Crew Gaming, we know people that are from down south. They don't talk like that.
No. It was such an abysmally overdone character.
It's a very, very poorly made caricature that's honestly kind of offensive to Southerners. Like, that's the weird thing about it. You know?
Yeah, it's really rough watching him, and like I asked 4 separate times. He had maybe 15 speaking lines, and like I think I asked every 3 of them. Like, promise me that's it. Like, just it was so bad.
Yeah, and not say that there aren't a couple funny quips, because there's obviously the him, like, his wife wanting to buy an elephant and him saying like honey, we're Democrats.
Yeah, the elephants are Democrat, right? Yeah, honey, we're Democrats, right? They're just so, oh god, it's just so dumb. They tried to make him like piss off as many people as humanly possible, and I don't know how many people actually got pissed off watching this movie about him, but I got pissed off enough for all of them combined.
I will say this: I really hope that, spoiler alert, he gets arrested in the film. I really hope that he's still stuck in the jail cell in Thailand.
I think my last dislike is, I mentioned it several times as we watched, but this movie made it impossible to suspend disbelief, right? Like,
yeah,
the entertainment value of watching any movie, any show, any whatever is your ability to feel like it's plausible. If it's a real life human scenario, I think that's even more so true, because like you have to identify with the characters who are human in front of you. Even in like a cartoon, you have to believe that like the things that happen are relevant to the universe in which that cartoon is set, right? And this like there were so many times where it's like even within its own plot it fucked up. There were just so many things so backwards about the writing, about the plot, that it was impossible to say, hey, this is feasible even with the rules they've given me.
Especially with, like, you know, you have Scaramanga is just like, yeah, I have no plans to retire it. I like killing. Then why are you taking over a solar panel company? Yeah, like that makes why are you like trying to have a monopoly of solar power and sell it? Like, what's the purpose of that if you like charge $1 million a hit and you don't feel like slowing down? Like, there's just certain stuff on there that just makes zero sense.
And not even like that complex to the plot, right? Like even in the duel scene, right?
No,
where he's got the fun house set up, which already is just kind of like, who's setting up a fun house for murder? Like the reason that Knick Knack is helping him is because he wants to take over this facility, so he kind of wants Scaramanga dead, but then he's assisting Scaramanga through the whole process. And then like the idea that Bond gets underneath this set into the scaffolding, like there was plexiglass that he literally ran into, which is the only reason he knew it was the edge of the platform. Like, wouldn't they just continue putting up plexiglass to like? There's just so many things that, like, even in the realm of possibility that Bond has established for itself in this movie, they turn back on itself so many times. It was so hard to buy in on this movie because everything turned on itself.
It's almost like Guy Hamilton had like ADHD, or Tom Mankiewicz, who did the script, had ADHD while doing the script. It's like they lead up. It's like, okay, like, you know, you're suspending disbelief, and then they just kind of like, well, I'm bored, let's do this, and then everything just ends up falling flat. Almost kind of like a Michael Bay film. So, that being said, think it's a good time to talk about Guy Hamilton's tenure as Bond.
Sure.
And you want me to remind you what movies he's directed?
Yeah, why don't we throw it out there?
All right, he's directed Goldfinger, Diamonds Are Forever, Live and Let Die, and The Man with the Golden Gun.
So I think like Stallman mentioned after the movie yesterday that we were gonna, compare directors, and so I put some thought into it rather than just be pissed off. But like the earliest, like most preeminent thought is that it's just Michael Bay, like just wants to create explosions and scenes, like scenes of big fiery explosions, right? But as I'm thinking about it more, it's only in the ending, right? Like it's like he produces the movies from beginning to end, not with whatever resources they have at the time. And then when he realizes, hey, we've got an extra $5 million in budget, let's just blow some shit up for funsies. You know what I mean? It's like he saves the budget for the end, afraid he's going to lose it, realizes he still has all of it, and then just blows up everything he has because fuck it, we still have the budget left. Which is arguably worse. Like at least Michael Bay blows stuff up the whole movie. They did. I got more frustrated than I should have.
No, I mean, that's the thing, is that a lot of the cases, like, he has, like, really good ideas, like, he actually cares about what he's shooting, but it seems like he gets bored and just like, all right, let's blow it up.
and I think a lot of it too, that like it seems to be he gets the more complex. I don't know if like scripts or plots is the right way to phrase it, because I know they took it from the novel, but like it seems like he's trying to do even more than the already more complex themes. And it just doesn't feel like it works.
Yeah. I will say this though, like out of all the films, even with me liking like GoldenEye, his best, not GoldenEye, yeah, Goldfinger. I will say, like, definitely his best film by far is Live and Let Die. I think he definitely, I would say, like, with Goldfinger, like, it's kind of like his first shot at, like, figuring out how to make a Bond film. And then with him being gone so long, he kind of had to relearn that with Diamonds Are Forever. He definitely kind of perfected it with, like, Live and Let Die, despite some of the goofy aspects in that. And then he just kind of drops the ball in this one. It's not like Terrence Young, who ends up getting better and better as he goes, or Peter Hunt, which it's kind of hard to really compare Peter Hunt to any other of the directors since he only directed the one film, but Peter Hunt was more or less a continuation of Terrence Young, with, being more grounded and serious as opposed to like spectacle and explosions. But it's kind of interesting how he honestly hockey pucks in quality Guy Hamilton does with each film that he ends up directing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I there are a lot of it's interesting that he was the one that ended up getting the more complex films, the more complex plots, and just it never seemed to work out the way I think it worked in his head beforehand. I don't want to disparage him as a director altogether, but
yeah, we're just comparing Bond films. We're not comparing his outside work. We haven't seen his outside work, although I'm actually kind of curious in watching his outside work and comparing it to other films just to see how it is. But
the other thing too that I'll say about all the directors so far is that like the really profound directors now, they have like a common feeling to their movie. Like you can watch any Christopher Nolan movie and go, okay, that's a Christopher Nolan movie. Like it's got its own feel. And it felt like the Bond movies that he produced just didn't feel notably different from the others. Obviously the plot lines are different,
I mean, I could have honestly told you like the like You Only Live Twice. I could have told you that was Guy Hamilton instead of Lewis Gilbert, and you wouldn't have known.
Right. It didn't.
You would have kind of known, like probably with Terrence Young and especially like Peter Hunt, because Peter Hunt uses a shit ton of jump cuts. But like between like Lewis Gilbert and Guy Hamilton, there isn't really that much difference, it seems, so far.
Yeah, it didn't create its own voice. It didn't stand out from the other directors, and it also like just. It felt like whatever his personal stride is, whatever his lane is that makes him a significantly different director from others, never had the ability to jump out with Bond. Like, he wasn't able to create his voice, and he wasn't able to use the voice he already had to influence his direction of Bond. It kind of was a deficit twice.
Yeah. And even then, it depends on if he even wanted to do that, because like I've stated before, like these movies are typically a collaborative effort. I mean, grant movies themselves are a collaborative effort, but a lot of cases it's like the director really steers the ship.
Right.
While these, I think, are mainly producer driven, but um, even then, like Peter Hunt had his say. Terrence Young actually has like his own type of thing, but uh like Guy Hamilton, it's just like there's a lot more explosions.
Yeah. There's kind of it. I'm interested to see what direction like the next few directors take it.
Next one's gonna be Lewis Gilbert. He directs the next two ones. That's the same guy that directed You Only Live Twice. From what I remember, I really liked Spy Who Loved Me, which is the next one. Although, if memory serves us short, the villain is ass.
Which is
not
fair.
like he's terrible; he's just boring. Which I said that about Largo, and I was proven wrong. So we can definitely
Yeah, that's fair.
see this time around. I guess overall, this movie's a mess. I enjoy it. I'm not sure. The sad thing about this movie is that it's not bad to the point where you struggle to go through it with it, but it's not hysterically bad enough to really make like a drinking game out of it to really rewatch it, you know?
Yeah, I'm with you.
I would say this, if you were a fan of Christopher Lee, this would definitely be a movie to watch, or if you're like really into the Bond seeds, that this is a good movie to watch. Also, one last positive, this is the movie that gave us the Golden Gun in GoldenEye, so kudos to that. Thank you for having people like me piss off people in multiplayer from grabbing that damn gun. But that being said, I guess, not great. Guilty pleasure of mine. How's your evaluation of it all?
If we're comparing it to other movies, I think I'm going to stick it right in front of Goldfinger. I toyed with this one a lot, that I didn't know whether to put it above or below, and I think the only thing that really separates it for me as being slightly better is that I liked the Bond character more. The writing was still painful. They took a really complex situation and didn't do well with it, and they were very, very similar movies for me. But having to put one in front of the other, I like the direction that Bond himself is heading. That is going to put this slightly above Goldfinger.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely get where you're coming from on that. I will definitely say that I definitely enjoy Bond in this film better than Roger Moore's Bond in this film more than Connery's Bond in Goldfinger, just because of how they kind of wrote Connery's Bond in Goldfinger.
Yeah.
It's like, spoiler alert, Roger Moore's not creepy in this movie. That being said, I think structure and I would say this is definitely, because I mean this is definitely going to be Diamonds Are Forever, because like I didn't suffer through this movie. It's structurally better than Dr. No. It's below Goldfinger for me because I think Goldfinger is better structured. I don't really want to give like my fanboyness of Christopher Lee like to push it way too high. You know? I'm just trying to think of like whether if I think it's better. I think it's better than You Only Live Twice, just because like the special effects, despite the slide whistle killing it, I think is more.
Hold on, Rids.
Okay. More easy to like digest for like a modern audience as opposed to You Only Live Twice. I think people would scoff at the uh stock footage of the lava and everything in You Only Live Twice as opposed to the slide whistle and the man with the golden gun. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
So I'm gonna put it below Goldfinger. But definitely not gonna complain about you put it above Goldfinger, knowing how much you kind of dislike Goldfinger. Like I said, I'm more positive about Goldfinger than you are, obviously,
Yeah.
but you know, obviously, like decent reasons. That being said, that was us reviewing The Man with the Golden Gun. Guess anything else to add, Ted?
Yeah, depending on when you watch this, continuing to watch movies every week in the Discord on Tuesdays. Feel free to hop in and watch with us. Otherwise, check us out on Twitch, hop in the Discord. Everything will be linked below. And then I guess
Follow us on YouTube and please leave a comment. I know a couple of y'all are making notes and DMing them to me, but you're not leaving comments. It would be nice to actually, have some comments to get some traction and discussion in the comments.
Absolutely. I can get behind that. All right, I think that's going to wrap us up for this week, and we'll see y'all in the next one.
Yep, see ya.